Hello, everyone, and welcome to the IFC Podcast. This is episode 3, and it is currently 7 o'clock on the 19th of November, 2020. As always, I'm your host, Gavin, your Vice President of Marketing and Communications. So I just want to start off saying welcome, everyone. Hope everyone has had a good couple of weeks. We were off for a little bit there because, midterms happened and, people get busy. So unfortunately, we kind of skipped a week in our every other week of uploading, but we are back on track. Hope everyone has some fun Thanksgiving plans ahead. Thanksgiving being next week. Hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. I know with COVID and everything like that, enjoy seeing your family, obviously socially distance. Make sure you wash your hands, you quarantine if you have any symptoms. You know the old fiasco there. Another thing, speaking of COVID that just recently happened, especially in Philadelphia, is that there's been a lot of shutdowns, which is kind of a bummer. But with the cases spiking, it's the safest thing to do. So Philadelphia is on a 6-week shutdown practically, where all the bars are closed, gyms, indoor seating, everything. Which, for me, it affects me one way because my gym is actually in South Philly. It kind of stinks not being able to drive up, go to the gym and back. My voice cracked so bad right there. So with that going on, a lot of people's mental health also hasn't been that good. Speaking with people at SGA, during town hall, some of my brothers and friends as well, make sure you know that it's okay to not be okay sometimes, and seeking help. Widener has an amazing program through CAPS. They will help you out, as well as peers, friends, mentors. Speak to someone if you feel down. Next thing I have right here is it is that time of the year, ladies and gentlemen, that elections are happening within the FSL community. First and foremost, good luck to everyone that's running for a position or has been nominated. And if you already had elections, congratulations for being elected into your position. As you know, I am a brother of Phi Delta Theta here on campus, and we actually just recently had our elections. And yeah, I have some funny and good news actually. So, and it's also bad news at the same time if you look at it a certain way, but I was actually elected for the presidency of my chapter. And according to FSL guidelines, I unfortunately will have to be stepping down from the Vice President of Marketing and Communications position, which, it's a bummer. So this may be one of my last podcasts to the IFC community through the IFC. You'll have Sam will obviously be back from Saudi Arabia pretty soon, so he can, pick up the torch. You remember Sam from the first episode. Then the future VPMC can host these as well, which, it's kind of a bummer with all that happening, mainly with I was starting to get, used to this. I enjoy these podcasts very much. It's really cool to talk to the IFC and FSL community just about things going on around the community as a whole. Speaking of the community, I want to get into some news coming up, especially with specifically IFC. First thing is coming up very soon. It's crazy to think December's right around the corner. But on December 1st, we're actually having the IFC holiday party. And sorry if I'm stuttering, stuff like that. I've been studying, doing midterm corrections, doing homework. All of our professors have stuff due this weekend, so I've been grinding with homework. So if I seem tired, just, I'm okay. So back on topic. The IFC holiday party will be on December 1st, which is coming up very, very quickly. Last year was our first annual holiday party, and we made gingerbread houses, did everything in person. It was a lot of fun, really good turnout. I had an amazing time. But obviously, we're going to do it on a virtual platform. So make sure to come out, see what we're going to do. We'll be giving away prizes, different awards to brothers and chapters, as well as giving out superlatives, which is probably going to be my favorite part. I love superlatives. At the end of the year for our fraternity, we do superlatives for all of our brothers, and it's always a good laugh, thinking about cool memories, inside jokes, stuff like that. So we're doing it with the IFC community. So you'll probably be getting an email fairly soon about that information, so keep a lookout for superlatives and the IFC holiday party. Another thing going on pretty soon as well in December is the IFC Crozier Hospital fundraiser. Information wasn't really released for this yet. You're hearing it first through the IFC podcast. But during winter break, roughly 2 chapters a week or a chapter a week, we'll have a period of time to fundraise for the Crozier Hospital in Chester, which is right around the corner from campus. All the money will go towards their COVID floor, any equipment they may need, as well as we'll be bringing some food, some snacks, and a little bit of a morale boost for the staff, the nurses, the doctors, and the people that go out every day, risk their life to battle COVID-19. And with Crozier being right around the corner, us already having really good ties with the Crozier Keystone system, being a Widener students, it'll be nice to give back to the community, and every chapter will have their own time to donate. The way it's going to work is everyone's going to get a bingo board or a Venmo board, depending on what you call it. Put on your stories when it's your chapter's week, and people will Venmo either the IFC Venmo directly with the chapter's name and all that stuff, or put your own personal Venmo in there, have people donate, and then at the end of it, donate it to your chapter, and the chapter will send it to the IFC or just send it right to the IFC directly. More information will be sent out of how exactly we want to do the donations and the flows. So once again, just keep a lookout. Some other news as well in the IFC community is that Kappa Sigma just recently started a fundraiser. Let me just pull up the information here because I still have half of my finance homework out and then have the stuff for this podcast out. So let me just pull this up real quick. My disorganization right now is not really ideal, but you work with what you have. Cool beans and bananas. All right. So Kappa Sigma, like I just said, is starting a fundraiser for the City Team Ministries in Chester. They're doing a food drive. I've worked a City Team before, personally. I've been working with them for years. The first time I went to City Team was in middle school, believe it or not, because I'm from Garden Valley, Pennsylvania, only 20 minutes south of Widener. So I've had a lot of interaction with City Team. They're an amazing organization. They do great rehab for the men that go there. Great community outreach programs with their thrift shop, their Hope Cafe on Saturdays, as well as preaching the word and the gospel, giving out food, shelter, all that stuff. Also, around Easter, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, they also do door-to-door deliveries for like care packages for people that may not be able to afford a nice turkey dinner on Thanksgiving or a nice ham dinner on Easter. They do an amazing thing for the city of Chester. I have a lot of respect for City Team, and I'm really happy that Kappa Sigma is doing this fundraiser. So more in depth with what they're actually doing. So they contacted City Team, and City Team's in need of baby formula, diapers, and non-perishable items. So the drop-off box will be outside of 507 East 13th Street, Chester, Pennsylvania. So if you can get any of these materials delivered to that address, and they will send it over to City Team. The fundraiser started on the 17th and will end on the 24th of November. They want to raise $3,000, and that is their goal, and they have different goals. And once they reach 3,000, members will dye their hair, and every $2,500. Wait, I'm reading this wrong. So the goal is that they raise $3,000, and they'll have members shave and dye their hair once they reach $2,500, and then they'll shave their hair once they reach $3,000. So there's like different brothers at different tiers willing to do this. So make sure you guys donate either Venmo Sean Bosch or reach out to Justin Otero at 267-593-7869 for any additional information. I highly encourage you all to take part in this food drive. It does great things for the community of Chester, and it's cool to see fraternity men out there making changes in their community. Very soon we will be having our special guest on. Our special guest today is Aidan Looby. He is the IFC president. He is also a brother of Tau Kappa Epsilon and is the host for the Under the Scope podcast. So once he joins fairly soon, we will have him on and we'll get him started and get him going with questions. Cool. As stated before, I gave him his introduction and he needs no further introduction. Welcome, Aidan Looby. Aidan, how are you?
Dude, what's going on, Gav? How you doing, man? Well, first of all, before we get started, I want to say congratulations on getting a president.
Thank you.
Sure, find out the theta. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm hyped. So it's a big responsibility, but we've had a lot of really good past presidents that paved the way, and I can network with. So I'm excited.
But what's going on?
I'm chilling. I was talking earlier in the podcast, and I was like stuttering a little bit, and I had to make the excuse of all the homework I've had because it feels like every professor decided to make everything due this weekend, and it's all by 11:59 on Saturday for literally all my classes when it comes to projects, homework. So swamped with work. It's swamped, but
I feel like my professors kind of alleviated everything because one, we're online, and two, even the professors I feel like they're like done with it too. Like they want to get through Thanksgiving, they want to get through the end of the semester. So at least from my end, it seemed like they're alleviated it. But maybe some professors are thinking differently.
Yeah, the business school definitely is thinking a lot differently.
No, well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But hey, look, you only got one more week. Once you get to Thanksgiving, it won't even matter because you'll be surrounded by your family. You'll be all through the tough stuff, and you'll be with your family. It won't even matter in a week. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So I have a few questions for Aidan.
Sure.
First off, where are you from? Where's the stomping grounds?
Stomping grounds? I'm from King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So, the biggest mall, I think the biggest mall in America. Maybe
one of.
I think it's one of like top two. But yeah, that's where I'm from, like 2 minutes from there.
That's not far. Cool. So I know you're kind of familiar with podcasting already because you are the host of Under the Scope podcast. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I just have a huge curiosity for science in general, and I know that there's a lot of research that goes on here at Widener University through engineering and chemistry and biology and biochemistry, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna just make a podcast because all the research that we're doing here is super cool, and I think it gives people a platform to go ahead and share it. It's for my own personal curiosity, but I put it out there because if people want to listen to what's going on out there in the world, they're more than welcome to join me. So yeah, so it's great. Let's do it.
Yeah, I saw it on LinkedIn. Your newest one. It's pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're curious about science.
Yeah, I don't really know science that well, so I was kind of like, okay.
No,
it's informative though. So.
No, for sure. Listen, I'm just making it to put it out there. If you're not interested in science, then that's okay. It's more, it's all good. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and listen to a business podcast about stocks and bonds. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to listen to that. It's all good, man.
So, what made you so interested in science? So, you're chemie, right?
Yeah, I'm chemical engineering and chemistry. So,
All right, cool. Yeah, what made you think about science, like major in it, focus on it?
that's definitely, it's interesting because in high school, like I was always interested in chemistry and science in general. So, and what's interesting, I think, most about it is I wasn't even that successful in AP Chem. Like, if for anyone out there that's taken AP Chem is like one of the hardest subjects in high school. Like, it's not even debatable. AP Chem is super hard. But I just had a natural like inclination to just like study it, and I was like, screw it. Like, chemie is like, when I was a senior in high school, I was always thinking about was the money, right? So like, you come out of college with a chemistry degree, you make a lot of money. But then, sophomore year of college, I started to like, talk with the professors, and I really started to understand chemistry more on like a molecular level, and that's just something I've always been interested in. And I just like studying how things work, and so that's kind of what drew me to it. And now we're here.
It's a great origin story.
Thanks.
Another origin story. You are a brother of Tau Kappa Epsilon.
Hmm.
What made you want to join a fraternity?
Gav, I was actually one of the people that when I came to college, I actually wanted to join a fraternity. So when you graduate high school, I'd probably say 8 out of 10 guys don't want to join a fraternity. I would even say 9 out of 10 guys don't want to join a fraternity, right? And I don't think that's false. I think a lot of people who are in fraternities would probably agree with me on that one. And it's interesting because when you graduate high school, or like when you're in high school, even in freshman in college, you think fraternity life is the party life. Like, you think that, oh my God, we have the sororities coming over. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get crunk and we're going to have a good ass time. And, that's what you think about when you're a senior in high school. That's literally all you think about. And when I was a senior, I thought that's what I wanted. Like, let's go have a good time. I want to have a good time in college. And so I joined fraternity life, and my world changed 360 degrees times 10. Like, the party life is like less than 1% of actually what goes on in fraternity life. And the amount of connections, the amount of wisdom, the amount of leadership that I've gotten these last 4 years is insurmountable. You couldn't put a price tag on the things that you learn in fraternity life. And I couldn't be more grateful than the people that I've met. And it's just eye-opening. And I think that you just got to like do it, man. It's just so life-changing. Absolutely. It's hard to explain. It really is.
Yeah, it is really hard to explain. I'm coming from current president to the past president of his organization. It really is life-changing.
Wouldn't you agree though? Like when you came to college, like, did you want to join a fraternity? Like, I feel
No.
like people don't.
Mm-mm.
Right? And what did you think about it? Did you think it was just like partying and stuff like that?
Yeah, I
Like,
thought it was kind of like partying, but also it was like for my own self-interest of the commitment, and I wasn't going to be able to do like my homework, get the good grades I wanted.
yeah,
But any negative stigma around it, especially at Widener, I can tell you it's false.
it gets shot down. And
It's crazy.
I think what's also crazy, one of the misconceptions is that you won't have time for your schoolwork. But I argue and I say when you're in a fraternity, or like even really a lot of organizations, like, you are more driven, like, because you
Mm-hmm.
have more structure to your schedule, and you're surrounded by people that actually want to do well. So,
Well, even like with time management, because I know I was also a new member educator for our fraternity as well, the position before presidency. And there's an entire section that we just talk about time management, how to manage your time, and just show the new guys different studying habits for homework, how to reach out. So it's literally just skills that you can learn in college that you don't necessarily learn in like a normal class.
no, absolutely. I mean, it's super humbling. And I tell people all the time, I think the new member educator position is probably arguably the most important position in fraternity and sorority. Like, because you get to share your experiences and you get to teach the new members like what it actually means to be in a fraternity.
Exactly.
Right? It goes way deeper than like I tell people too. Like, if the best thing you have to say about your fraternity is it's a great brotherhood, you're in a crappy brotherhood, because like Yeah, I joined this fraternity because we have a great brotherhood. It's like, no, like that's so crappy. Like that's so lame, bro. Like there's such other good things out there, man. Like, you get to do all this charity work, and you get to meet people, your alumni, like the connections, and it's just humbling. Like that's what it's about, I think.
Well, I agree, 110%. So you kind of already answered the second question. I was going to talk about how it's helped shape you as an individual, but we can go on for hours about that topic.
Not for sure.
So obviously, other than the IFC and FSL community, I know you're involved in a lot of other things.
Mm.
Out of everything else you're involved in, what do you think has made the biggest impact in your own personal life, but also your like collegiate experience as well?
So outside of fraternity life, I would say the single-handedly the biggest impact on me is probably the alternative spring break program here. Absolutely. For those who like don't know what alternative spring break is or don't know what ASB is, and it's a program where like students spend 1 week in a city, out really down or another city across the United States, and we spend a week with about 12 students and 2 advisors, and we work with Habitat for Humanity to help build a house or demolition of a house, or whatever the case may be. But we work with Habitat for Humanity, and you just get this big sense of community, and you build this bond with people that you would have never met. Literally, I say this all the time. I went to Houston and Nashville. I used the Nashville example because it happened like last spring break, but I was with nursing students, English students, people in the hospitality program. Like I would have never met them here on campus, and so the fact that I spent a week with them 24/7 in the community, helping you build this house, it's just so awesome, and it's just so humbling and grateful, and I can't explain it, man. You just gotta like be there. It's so cool. I know you were on ASB, like
Yeah.
like what's like your favorite thing about it?
Same thing as you. Like I have a very my leadership style is a servant leadership. So any chance I get to travel and help people, I'll take it. I was a short-term missionary for a while. I've been in Antigua, spent a lot of time in New York, like the inner city. So being able to travel and really like immerse myself in a culture that I may never be able to experience again with people who I barely know, like you said, but you quickly make that bond right away. I remember the first time I was a freshman for ASB, I went to Pensacola, Florida, and we were on the bus going to the airport, and Sam DeVecchis, I'm not sure if you know him,
Yeah.
but Sam was just sitting on the bus. It was just quiet, and he just started asking icebreakers out of nowhere, but they were like personal icebreakers. Like I don't feel like repeating some of them, but they were like personal questions, and they were like impactful, and it made you think like, like I've never gotten that question before. It's like right off the bat, we got to really know each other before we even got on the airplane.
Right.
So it was really cool. And then even in Amarillo, Texas, when I went down with Janine, Phil, and a bunch of people I knew. There's a few crew leaders and then some people I didn't know. So it was a really cool experience with that because Texas is it feels like it's a whole nother world.
Especially Amarillo, Texas.
Like, especially Amarillo, Texas.
Like that's not even a joke. Like Amarillo, Texas, I think isn't that like in the middle of nowhere?
It's in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
So it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's just flat, and then there's just a canyon out of nowhere. And it was really cool, like experiencing, because I've lived around here my whole life, Delco, born and raised, and going down to Texas where it's in the center of the country, completely different landscape, atmosphere. It really like brought me out of my comfort zone, and I was thrilled by that. I love going out of my comfort zone. So it's a really cool experience for thrill seekers, but also for like people that just want to help and get back.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Like when you're talking to Sam about like deep personal questions, because it's this weird connection where like you guys are all in this together, and like you haven't even met each other yet, but you trust each other for some reason. And that's like I think that's what's great about ASB is that like you don't have to, as soon as you step on that bus, there's like this connection to each other, I think.
Yeah, because you're literally going to the unknown. You've never been to this location before. You don't know what's in store. You don't know what you're doing.
And you're doing something bigger than yourself, right? So like
Exactly.
this is way bigger than any of us combined. So yeah, for sure. ASB, definitely do it if you haven't done it yet. Hopefully we get to do it this year. I don't know. We'll see, but
Sweet. So I have one more question for you, Aiden.
sure.
So I know you're a big soccer guy. I know you love your soccer. So at your current state, right now, if you could play for any professional soccer team, like internationally, what would that team be? Why? And what position are you picking?
Oh, that's a tough one. So I'm a diehard Tottenham Hotspur fan. So if I got to choose a team, probably gonna be Tottenham Hotspur. Um, I've been a fan of them for 8-10 years now. So there's no other reason why. I like Tottenham Hotspur. They're just my team. I'll say this though, if I want to go on to be the best player in the world, I'd probably play for Bayern Munich because I'd probably win a couple Champions Leagues and a couple Bundesliga titles. So if I want to play for my childhood club, I play for Tottenham Hotspur. But if I want to go on to win some Champions Leagues, I probably play for Bayern Munich. So
Good question.
I also play center midfielder. That's probably where I'd play.
That's what I played when I played soccer back in high school and middle school. I was a midfielder.
It's a tough position.
Back when I was, in shape. Then college happened.
Me too, there, brother. Trust me. But we can idolize it. We can dream.
True. Well, I mean, I was going to the gym. I started going back to the gym, and now it's closed because it's in Philly. So now I'm gonna have to find another way to start working out. So I think the universe just doesn't want me to work out at this point. My gyms are closing.
Yeah, I guess go ahead and give up on working out then. Listen, hey man, working out it's all about baby steps, man. You got to do some every day, and then you build. Absolutely. And I should practice what I preach because I don't do that, but I'm just saying.
I mean, New Year's resolutions are coming up,
Yeah, listen, my New Year's
a few more weeks.
Listen, they last about 4 days, so.
Yeah, they really do.
But yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Gav, thank you for having me, man. This is so cool, man. Definitely keep going.
Yeah. I can't wait. Well, I said earlier, I'll sadly have to be stepping down from this position come a few weeks because of my presidency. But then we'll have Sam back. So
yeah, well, Sam back. Listen, then you'll be on as a guest though. So then you'll.
Oh, that would be.
Listen.
Being the guest, being in the hot seat. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that.
Yeah,
I'm just getting used to hosting.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Thank you for having me. This is so cool. I definitely hope to get on here again. We'll get some more guests on here though. We'll keep the conversation going because I think this stuff's super cool and super important.
Sweet. Right. And well, thank you again for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
And our next podcast is scheduled for December 4th at noon. So thank you everyone for tuning in and listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See everyone.